Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hello everyone, my name is Ricardo Castellini, I'm a media educator and I'm here today to guide you through an extraordinary online exhibition put together by Tactical Tech, an international NGO that engages with citizens and civil society organizations to explore how the digital technologies impact the societies where we live and also individual autonomy. The title of this exhibition is The Glass Room, Misinformation Edition, and it aims to explore how the internet and the digital technologies have changed our relationship with information, the way we read it and react to it. It is important to say that this material does not replace the full experience of going online and visiting the exhibition yourselves. Actually, I hope you guys use this video as a first guide to the exhibition and then take some time to visit online and enjoy the many different resources available there. Before the internet, information was in the hands of a few powerful people and institutions, like the big media corporations, big publishers, entertainment companies and music records. And then the internet came. It actually took a few years for us to understand what exactly the internet was for. But when we did, it was so exciting. And as the years went by and the technologies evolved, it got even more exciting. We realized we had access to information like never before. The first search engines appeared and organized the information for us. Then the social media networks appeared and out of nothing, we were all connected on the same place. It was like magic. The mobile phones became smartphones, so we had the world in our hands. Just 1 or 2 clicks and I learn about the most recent news. I find the best route to my work, I book a cinema ticket, and I can talk to all my friends almost at the same time. That's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah, you know, but like with most other things in life, there's always a good side and a bad side. And I'm here to talk about some of the problems and challenges that the internet and the digital technologies pose to our societies and to us as individuals. In this exhibition, Tactical Tech presents 3 main themes. The first one has to do with how websites, computers and phones are designed to keep us hooked. The second one explores how easy it is nowadays to manipulate information, especially photographs and videos. And they show that with a focus on deepfakes. And the third theme discusses misinformation, one of the most challenging problems that we are facing right now, especially on social media platforms and messaging apps. So let's go there. In order to access this exhibition, you have to type theglassroom.org/misinformation and you will be taken to this page. Here you can read some info about the project, its aims and purposes. To go to the main room, you click on this link here. And here we are. That's the main page of the exhibition. You see this bar here on the left-hand side? We are going to leave it for later. Let's start with the introduction. This introduction offers the visitor a kind of a short description of what we're going to see next. They begin with some interesting questions that we should remember whilst exploring the many features of the exhibition. What happens when we increasingly rely on social media and the web for nearly all our information? What information do we see and what do we miss? How do we know if a picture or a tweet is genuine or truthful? And what can we do if we can't be sure? These are very interesting questions and I hope we can answer them during our virtual tour. So let's see this first panel here. It's called Hooked. This panel explores how our smartphones became an intimate companion that, on the one hand, allows us to communicate and explore the digital world in many interesting ways, but on the other hand, suck up more and more of our time. In some developed countries, young people are spending on average almost 9 hours a day in front of a screen. And this includes TV, computer, tablets, smartphone, and they check their phones at least 150 times a day. And what about you? Do you know how many hours you spend a day on your phone? So how do we read this kind of panel? Well, as you can see, we have some infographics here. Do you guys know what an infographic is? Well, infographics are basically visual representations of information or data. Some infographics are more obvious to understand. Others are not as obvious, so we need some guidance. Here on the right, we have some info that helps us understand how to read these infographics. And it is also important to mention that the numbers we are going to see here are based on a small sample of people living in China. They do not represent a worldwide trend. So you see that there are 6 different types of screen use, and each circle represents a different amount of hours spent on the screen, from 1 to 6. Below we have the time spent per age group. Here the pupil refers to the average time spent on the device, and the iris refers to the specific use of the device. So for example, what does this graphic shows us? Well, it shows a few things. First, we know that the age group is between 41 and 45. Then we know that they spend almost 3 hours a day on their phones. And we also know that most of this time is spent on creative, which involves the use of your camera and some editing apps, for example. Entertainment, which can be music apps, podcasts, YouTube, etc. And also productivity, which refers to the use of online banking, notes, calculators, etc. What do you think about these numbers? Any surprise? Actually, what do you think about finding out how much time you guys spend on your phones? If you click on the next panel, called Are You Hooked?, you can actually find out how much time you spend on your phone. In order to do that, you have to do 2 things. The first one is to go online and download this poster. Once you do that, if you have an Android phone or an iPhone, you can check your screen time information. Here we have details about how you do that. It's quite simple. Then you take a note of the time you spend on each of these categories: web surfing, chat apps, Facebook, Twitter, and so on. Once you have collected this info about your screen time, you can follow these simple instructions and check how you spend your time with your phone. Very easy. Okay, let's go back to the main page and check what we're going to see next. We are going to skip these panels here for now and click on this one called How Your Phone is Designed to Grab Your Attention. Before we continue on that page, let me give you all a little bit of context around this idea that your phone is designed to grab your attention. Because actually, it's not only your phone that is designed to grab your attention. All the digital platforms, especially social media networks, are designed to do that. But why? Why is it important for tech companies and digital platforms such as Apple, Google, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, and many others to grab your attention? Well, in order to understand that, we need to understand a little bit about the business model behind these companies and services. First of all, you don't pay for these services, right? I mean, you pay for your phone and maybe for some applications that you want to download, but you don't pay for the vast majority of things you do online. For example, you use Google to find information about everything, and you don't pay for that. You watch hundreds of videos on YouTube for free. You create videos for TikTok. You communicate with your friends through Snapchat or WhatsApp. You read the stories on Facebook. And you do all that for free, right? But if you are not paying for that, somebody has to pay, because these companies are, well, companies, so they want to make profits. So where does this money come from? This money comes mainly from advertisers. I'm sure you've seen a lot of ads on these platforms. So the ads you see are what keep these platforms working and making profits. And then you may ask, but what do I have to do with these ads? Well, here's where it gets a little bit tricky, because you have everything to do with these ads. Actually, not you, but your data. The most important and valuable thing for these tech companies is our data, because they use our data to create very segmented audience profiles and sell them to the advertisers. Okay, let me explain this better. Imagine that you have a store that sells vegan food and you want to advertise your store on Google or Facebook. So you go to these companies and say, hey folks, what's the story? I have this store here and I want to advertise on your platforms. I sell vegan food. So these platforms will say, oh, that's good stuff. You know, here we can segment your audience, so only people who like vegan food or anything related to that, such as healthy food or healthy habits, such as doing exercises, only these kind of people will see your ads. In this way, you're not going to waste your time or money showing your ads to people who don't like vegan food or are not interested in that. What do you think about it? It's great, isn't it? Of course it is great. But then you think, wait a minute, how can Google or Facebook know who the people who would be willing to buy vegan food are? Well, because they know us. And how do they know us so well? Because they collect and keep our data. Every time you are online, you're leaving traces about your personal preferences, your habits, the people you like, the people you don't like, the places you like to visit, the music you listen to when you're not feeling well. All this data is collected and used in order to create an online profile of ourselves. So for example, if you like hip-hop, I'm sure you're going to see a lot of ads related to hip-hop. Not only the music itself, but also clothes, accessories, magazines, TV shows, anything that can be possibly related to hip-hop. So that's why our data is so important for these companies. And as a consequence, that's why they want us to spend the longest time possible connected and interacting on these platforms. Because the longer we are there, the more they can learn about us. Great, so let's see what Tactical Tech has to say about the many ways in which our phones can grab our attention. On this page, we can explore how our phones and the digital platforms use persuasive features and designs to keep us hooked for the longest time possible. It rewards us for everything. Everyone feels happy if they get a like for something they posted online. And even happier if that's followed up by a nice comment. Do you know when you're chatting with someone and then you see that animated bubble, meaning that the other person is writing something back to you? This bubble is there for a reason, which is to build anticipation. So you won't let go of your phone until you see the actual message. It makes you feel emotional. Have you ever heard of clickbaits? These are pieces of information, usually in the format of a headline, that use sensationalistic and emotional language in order to grab your attention, make you feel happy or angry, and then click on it. Viral memes also use catchy phrases combined with strong images to grab your attention and make you share it quickly without thinking too much. It makes you feel like you're getting ahead. This feature has to do with quantity over quality. So the more interaction you have with the apps or the platforms, the more time you will be willing to spend on them to grow these numbers. This can be related to the amount of people you are connected online, which shows your popularity, or a progress count on games or apps, which shows how dedicated you are to these platforms. Or even the number of times something you posted is shared by other people, which gives a feeling of social acceptance. It gives you FOMO, or feeling of missing out. This has to do with the feeling of belonging. Apps create a digital environment that makes you feel you belong to that. You are part of a group, and you don't want to miss any trend. Snapchat streaks are a good example of how digital platforms keep their users connected and engaged. Longer streaks show loyalty and are rewarded with special emojis, for example. It makes everything seems urgent. Depending on the way you configure your phone and the apps you use, you're gonna get a lot of alerts all day long, and they all give you a strong sense of urgency. Your phone will vibrate, ring, show colorful icons, make strange noises, everything possible to make you look and grab it. And finally, it makes it easy to keep going. Want more content? Just need to pull down and fresh content comes up. And it seems to be endless, you can scroll down forever. And what about the autoplay feature? It gives you something new before you think about moving to somewhere else. So as we can see, many features you find on your phone, apps and digital platforms, they are specially designed to keep you connected and interacting as much as possible. And now we know the reason why they do that. We're now going to change our focus to how we manipulate and alter images and videos. If you wanted to modify a picture 15 years ago, it wouldn't be an easy task. Unless if you had Photoshop, but this is a professional and quite expensive software. As the technology evolved, it became easier and easier to edit pictures. Nowadays there's a lot of free online platforms and apps where you can go and edit your pictures the way you want. Many apps offer ready-to-use features where you can swap faces, make people younger or older, and so on. You can easily edit pictures on your phone, cropping, trimming, changing color, changing background, etc. With videos it's a little bit more complicated, but we can also make some basic and simple changes in video very easily. Like you can change the speed, put some voiceover, cut some parts off, add some new clips, and so on. And this is not necessarily bad. On the contrary, you can have a lot of fun manipulating pictures and videos. In my work, for example, sometimes I edit videos and change their content for educational reasons, to make it easier for people to understand what I'm talking about. The problem is not everyone manipulates images and videos for good reasons. Some individuals and organizations use these editing tools to fabricate stories that are not based on facts, to manipulate people's opinions, or to cause harm to governments and institutions. And this is very serious. The fact that increasingly more people have access to this kind of technology means that its impact only tends to grow. And as technology evolves, it gets more and more difficult to distinguish between a real and a doctored image or video, especially with the advent of deepfakes. So let's go back to the exhibition and see what tactical tech can show us about the manipulation of images and videos, with a special focus on deepfakes. Let's click on Deep Future. How will deepfake technology change your life, and how will it change how we see others? Here in this panel, you can go through 6 different ways in which deepfake technology can be used to alter a video. What about your speech? In the digital world, the movement of your mouth can be altered, and the sound of your speech can be easily manipulated.
This is a recent work that goes by the name Techotron 2, and it performs AI-based voice cloning. All this technique requires is a 5-second sound sample of us and is able to synthesize new sentences in our voice as if we uttered these words ourselves. Let's listen to a couple examples.
The Norsemen considered the rainbow as a bridge over which the gods passed from Earth to their home in the sky.
Take a look at these pages for Crooked Creek Drive. There are several listings for gas station. Here's the forecast for the next 4 days.
Wow, these are truly incredible. The timbre of the voice is very similar, and it is able to synthesize sounds and consonants that have to be inferred because they were not heard in the original voice sample.
Deepfake can also make your body moves in different ways, which can be fun if you use it for entertainment, but it can be dangerous if someone wants to make you move your bodies in ways you never did before.
To me, glow. If I tear my heart out, I still feel pain. Whatever I do, still feels the same. Act like it's nothing, but tell me now, what were we thinking of? Everything that we had, well, it's gone to waste. If I stand in the sunshine, all I see is rain. So
Your face can also be taken and put on place of someone else's face. I'm sure you've seen some of these features in apps and social media platforms. Now think about the many real-life scenes you wouldn't want your face to be transferred into, like parties, protests, or even riots that you were never at.
Here with adult formula shampoo and use cream rinse for that just wash shine. I can't seem to find my toothbrush, so I'll pick one up when I go out today. Other than that, I'm in good shape.
What about your personality? Many applications and digital platforms are increasingly giving their users the choice of some automated actions, such as the autofill features you encounter in some email providers and messaging apps. They are good for quick answers, but what happens if we get used to letting AI choose the words for us? How this can interfere in the way we communicate and are seen by others?
We use machine learning to start suggesting phrases for you as you type. All you need to do is to hit tab and keep auto completing.
Oh, here we have something controversial, your afterlife. Will we be able to make ourselves digitally available forever? What would your future afterlife video look like? Something like the recreation of a young Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia in 2016's Rogue One, a Star Wars story?
Your Highness, the transmission we received. What is it they've sent us?
Hope.
And finally, your memory. There are many different ways in which we can present ourselves, and some of these ways may have nothing to do with our real selves at all. Are you always sure that the people you see on a video are real? If you go to the website thispersondoesnotexist.com, you are going to see a lot of faces that look real, but they actually do not belong to anybody. They were created by a generative adversarial network. These people simply do not exist. Now maybe you're thinking, how does deepfake work? Is it too difficult to create one? Well, we can have a basic idea about that if we visit our next panel in the exhibition. We are now going to click on the Deepfake Lab. Here we are. Now let me tell you something very important. From this point on, I'm going to show you a lot of things in this exhibition that are very interesting, but they can only be fully enjoyed if you come here yourself and play with the videos and other features available. So I'm going to show you briefly what you can find on this page, but then again, I really recommend you take some time to come here and enjoy everything that Tactical Tech has prepared for us.
Hello, welcome to our website. My name is Arthur, and we are going to have a look at deepfakes. Deepfakes are artificial intelligent computer models that are able to recognize facial features to be able to either replace faces or be able to manipulate them. Throughout this website, we're going to have a look at the variables that determine the quality of a good deepfake and how to recognize them. Disclaimer: most of the content on this webpage has been artificially manipulated. Enjoy!
So here we have a very popular example from the internet. In this video, Elon Musk's face has been overlaid on a baby. This type of face swap is the most common use of deepfakes. But look closely, the edges of the face are not sharp and the skin color is different. Below the video there's more information about the technical details and also some of the visual flaws that we can spot. For example, the color mismatch. And here below you can see both the target video and the video source. And you can also click on the links to see the full video.
Some people dream of success while you're gonna wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible!
Okay, so here you can begin to learn how to do it yourself. Of course it's not easy and for now it still involves having a good device and a powerful graphics card. This video shows the first trial and why it is important to have suitable source videos.
Dream of success while you're gonna wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible!
You can see more information about the technical details, such as dataset size, iteration amount, output resolution, and training time. You can also check the visual flaws that are easily recognizable, such as skin color mismatch, mismatch expressions, and visible edges.
You should get to the point where anyone else...
So how do we make deepfakes? You need two videos, a source and a target. The program will train itself using both and create a mask from the source video that will be overlaid onto the target video using editing software. Here below me you can see that for this project the number of images was larger than in the previous one, and also all the other elements involved in the creation of a deepfake. Let's have a look at the process of creating this kind of digital artifact. Select a target video you want to insert a face onto. Choosing a steady video with a consistent background will give you a better result. Record a dataset for the face you want to place the source, matching the lighting and expressions as much as possible to the target video. Cover the faces of other people in the target video, otherwise they will be picked up by the algorithm and confuse the training process. The algorithm will crop the faces so it can use them for training and save their position to accurately overlay the mask afterwards. The algorithm generates a mask of the face from the source video, which you then need to align onto the target video. Video editing software will allow you to blend in the mask better and refine the final result. And there's a lot more, of course. As you scroll down, you learn more information about deepfakes, how they are created, and what they can be used for. On this page, for example, you will learn more about the importance of the dataset size.
You got that too. It was hidden on me, hidden inside my head, a few simple lines of computer code that can break into any system.
Told all my clients. Last one to Sherlock is a sissy.
Yes, but now that it's up here, I can use it to alter all the records.
What? An angel.
Here, you will learn more about collecting sources and how in some cases it gets really difficult to use somebody's images to create a deepfake if they don't have many pictures available online.
Creatures in the universe. They live on the moons of Viego, I think.
You're a funny little boy. How do you know so much?
I listen to all the traders and star pilots who come through here. I'm a pilot, you know.
Oh, by the way, how vulnerable are you? Do you have many photos available online? Can we steal your social media content and create a good deepfake? You better think about that. Here you will see how not only the source is important, but also the target video. In some cases, it can be really hard to create a deepfake if the target video has a lot of chaotic and messy shots. On this page, you'll see one very common flaw that you can spot on deepfakes: face occlusion. This happens when, for example, objects pass in front of the face, and as a result, the mask distorts, covers the object. On this page, you are going to discover that time really matters when it comes to deepfake. When you let the algorithm practice on the source content for longer, the results can improve. In this video, you can see the difference between a model that was trained for 4 hours and another one that was trained for 48 hours, 12 times longer. You can clearly see the improvements in facial details. And finally, just a final message about deepfakes. Remember, deepfakes can be really fun, but they can also be used for malicious practices. They can be of high quality and difficult to spot. Be aware of them. Deepfake technologies are really interesting, aren't they? Great, so now we are going to move to our final topic, which is misinformation. Do you know what misinformation is? Misinformation is usually associated with false or misleading information that is shared when a person doesn't realize that it's false. So in this case, there is not necessarily an intention to cause harm to people or institutions, even though it might eventually do. What about fake news? Well, fake news is quite a tricky term, but it is usually used to refer to false information, that is, information that's not based on real facts. In this sense, fake news could simply be described as a lie. However, for the purpose of this video, every time I say fake news, I'm referring not only to false information, but also to information that might contain some factual content, though this content has been doctored or taken out of context in a way that changes its original meaning and deceives people. All clear? Great! So let's go back to the exhibition. Here we're going to click on this panel. Watch the video. Now the thing is, this video is almost 25 minutes long, so of course we don't have the time to watch its full length right now. So I'm just going to show the highlights of the video, and then later on you can come back here and watch it. The video covers 4 topics. The first one is called Trichography. You never read alone. Let's watch a little bit. So this first part talks about third-party trackers. Third-party tracking refers to a very common practice in the online environment, whereby a company other than the website which you are visiting tracks your visit to the site. Cookies are an example of a tracker. Usually we think that only the website we are visiting has access to our cookies, but the fact is that third-party trackers make it possible for other companies to have access to that, and most of the time without clearly disclosing this information to us. So here Tactical Tech uses 5 American news websites as an example to show you the many connections that exist between those sites and third-party trackers. You can also see all the countries where your data goes through if you visit these websites. Tactical Tech makes us think about important questions, like these ones. We can learn how to block some of these third-party trackers, and I'm going to show you where we can learn that in a few minutes. Moving on, the second topic is serious profiling. Have you been profiled yet? Let's watch a little bit. So here, Tactical Tech discusses how tech companies collect our data and create digital profiles about us based on our personal preferences. As explained before, every time you go online, you leave traces about the pages you visited, the comments you posted, the searches you performed, etc. And tech companies keep this data to make their business model work. And believe me, they know a lot about us. And here we have some interesting questions to think about. The third topic you can see here in this video is called Personal Data, Political Persuasion, Inside the Influence Industry. What's for sale?
We win the tough fights. We help you answer the big questions. We power democracy.
And the big question is... And by now, we know the answer.
The data is the difference. Our DNA. Data. Data, knowledge, solutions.
And what do these companies promise? What are they delivering to their clients based on our data?
We get inside the mind of the voter. Identity solutions. Gravy insights. Know your supporters like never before. Targeting voters. Don't just target. Target smart. Target people and their passions in the moment. Make meaningful connections on mobile through location insights. campaign analytics, political war room, early voting analysis, reputation management, offline to online opinion research, footfall measurement.
And here we have some important questions to think about. Now we move to the last topic of this video, called living with algorithms. Why should we care about algorithms? In this last part, we can learn what algorithms are and how they work. Wow, that was a lot of info at the same time, wasn't it? Okay, so let's move on. We are now near the end and Tactical Tech has prepared some interesting quizzes for us. Of course, I'm not gonna play them all here in front of you, it's not fun at all. I'm just gonna give you a little taste and then you take some time to go to the exhibition page and play the quizzes yourself, okay? Let's check them out. Let's first click on this panel here called Double Check. In the age of real-time information, being misled is very simple. Visual disinformation and misinformation are increasingly widespread phenomena that are distinguished only by the purpose of creating and sharing fake content to influence public opinion. Miscaptioned images are one example of that. They are real but misleading images with explanatory texts that falsely describe their context, origin or meaning. Look at this example. Okay, I'm gonna try this quiz right now. Just the first 2 questions and then the rest I'm gonna leave for you. Great, so I have to select the miscaptioned image. And I only have a few seconds to do that. Wait a minute, let me read it here. Oh my god, time is running really fast. Okay, I'll go with this one. Here we have an explanation as for why I was wrong. Okay, let's move on. Here I have to select the manipulated image, so let me see. Okay, I think this is easier. I'll go with this one. And here the explanation of the picture. So that's how it works. I'll leave this session now. Don't forget to come here and try it yourself. Next up, we're gonna check if we can distinguish between real and fake news. So we are going to click on this panel called Fake or Real. Here on this page you have more info about fake news and misinformation, and then you click on this button at the bottom and start playing. So let's see what happens next. Is the image misleading? Decide whether this item is trustworthy or not. Let me see. We can read in the image Center for Global Human Population Reduction. Population reduction? That sounds really strange. And below it's written Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Well, we know that Bill Gates and his wife have a foundation, but are they trying to reduce the human population? Or maybe this is just another conspiracy theory against Bill Gates. It looks very suspicious to me, so I'm going to click yes, because I think this image is misleading. Great! And here we have more info about that. Let's read it. The image has been altered. This image is the subproduct of the conspiracy theory that Bill Gates, through his foundation, seeks to control global human populations through vaccines. In 2020, the foundation began efforts in finding a vaccine to end the coronavirus pandemic. As a result, images like these have begun to resurface. And there are many more questions in this quiz for you to check your ability to detect fake stories and misleading information. It's a very good practice. Those quizzes are definitely a good exercise to check how easy it is to manipulate online information, and also to see how prepared we are to detect fake news and misleading information. Now we are going to the last panel of our exhibition. We are going to click here on this panel called A Drop in the Ocean. Here we are. Remember a few minutes ago we discussed how some tech companies create digital profiles about us and use this data to influence the ads which we are exposed to. So here we have an example of how this data can be used to create this personality profile. Ocean stands for the set of traits listed in the chart below that researchers use to measure human personality, a process known as psychometric profiling. So now you can imagine if some tech company get hold of all this information about your personality traits based on the things you do online. What can they do with this info? Well, as I said, they can use it to target specific ads to you, including political ads. What do you think about it? Come here and create your own personal profile based on your personality traits. I'm sure you're gonna have a lot of fun and discover a little bit more about yourself. Great, so this is the end of the exhibition. Actually, there's just one more thing I want to show you. Remember in the beginning of the video I showed you the bar at the far left corner of the exhibition? That's the Data Detox Kit. The main idea on this page is to show you some simple steps you can take to better control your digital privacy, security and well-being in ways that feel right to you. So here, for example, you learn how to manage your screen time in order to have a healthier relationship with your devices. You can also learn how to control your smartphone data so that you increase your online privacy. There are also some tips about how to change some settings in order to protect your data. And also some simple techniques to enhance your digital well-being. In each of these links, you find a lot of detailed information about how to do things in a very easy and comprehensible way. Well, that's it, folks. I think it's clear that there's a lot of things that need to be said and understood when it comes to the internet and the new digital media technologies. Going through the panels in this exhibition, we could see some of the main challenges that we are facing right now, and many others will come up in the future. Remember, technology is great, but we must have a critical approach when dealing with it. I hope you all have enjoyed this journey. Bye.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.